Hey everybody out there in the YouTube community, the comic book community, and the internet world, and welcome to another Dark Avengers comic book review. The comic books I'll be reviewing in this week's humongous stack were released on the date of February 15th, 2012. First off, these comics were not released in February 2012. I don't even believe they were released in 2012. Really quickly, I wanted to mention the two books I finally got my hands on it. First one being Transformers number 31, which ended Chaos completely way back when. You guys remember, I thought it ended at 30. It really ended at 31. I said I wasn't going to pick it up. Since I'm picking up the two Transformers series, I picked up the last part of the one series story. So I've got the ending. And that's the toy cover because they sold out of the other ones. And I got the death of Optimus Prime, which really wasn't the death of Optimus Prime. So now I feel like a moron because I'm here sitting here saying, oh, Optimus Prime died. He always dies. He didn't die at all. How smart do I feel now? Yeah. Anyway, that's those two comics. I am happy that Optimus Prime is still alive somewhere out there, and if you didn't know that by now, it's like 3 months old. I'm sorry if I spoiled something for you. Really quickly, I got this comic this week from Midtown. It is a Scott Snyder Batman number 2, first printing, signed by Scott Snyder. Batman is by far one of the best series that's coming out now for DC Comics. Really loving it. Starting in, I believe it's either April or May, all the Batman books are going to be intertwined with the Council of the Owls. So, looking forward to that. And it all started right here in these books, in the Batman title books, the Batman alone title. You guys know what I mean. Punisher will be back next week once we get because next week there's no signed comics coming, so it's good. Oh yeah, there is one. Punisher will be back when we have no more signed comics to show off that we get each week. Anyway, this book was released last week, which was the week of the 8th of February. I just wanted to throw it out there. It's called Magic the Gathering, number 1 from IDW. Slowly but surely, I notice I'm getting a lot of comic books from IDW, and this book also came with a giveaway, which was a card, which is the exact same picture as the cover. It's a quickie, it's a sorcery card, so I thought that was a nice thing. And yes, I did the extra research and found out that it's official. You can use this card in a Magic tournament. The people who make the Magic cards actually said Wizard something. There we go. Wizards of Comics, whatever. Anyway, they said it's an official card. It can be played in tournaments. It's not illegal. It's not just a promo. You can actually use it. So I thought that was really nice. Now, when I was younger, I used to play Magic. I believe it was high school years. When I left high school, I stopped playing Magic because nobody in college plays Magic, as far as I knew anyway. So I had abandoned the series. And then I saw this at Midtown, and I was like, I really don't need the series. I mean, in my mind, I thought it was going to be based off of sales of the cards. They're going to throw out every single card title there is in this series, in this comic, and it's basically just going to be one big promo comic. It's like, look, there's the eye of the whatever, and there's the sword of whatever, and it's just promoting the cards to get you to buy the cards. Granted, I have not been buying the Magic cards for a very long time. However, I am going to be getting a fat pack for an unboxing for the CCC, but that was before I even got this comic. So I figured, give it a shot, because I saw a lot of reviews on it, and a lot of people thought it was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised. This was very good. And this did not really push promotions or sales of the cards, except for the last page, which is right here, where it actually says, you've read their stories, now wield their power, and it's a big promo for the cards. Other than that, you do not get any promo at all throughout this entire book for the Magic cards. Not one. It's one full-fledged story. The artwork is gorgeous and amazing. The story had, in the beginning you think you're going to be reading about a thief who steals relics and learns all the spells from it, and then that's it, and then he sells them. So he's really like a Kind of like the Han Solo. Let's use that. I forget what Han Solo is. A mercenary, would you say? Is that Mike?
I guess so.
I guess so. He steals stuff, he sells it, makes money, moves on. He has a very bad reputation. He goes to 2 different places, and he isn't exactly welcomed with open arms. Let's leave it at that. I'm trying to find a good page to show. I'll just show this page. This page. Artwork is really good. Cover is really beautifully drawn also, and painted. So he's using his spell to learn the magic of this artifact he just stole, which is actually, ironically, the knife that he's holding in this cover. And it turns out that you finally get backstory to this character. It turns out that somebody had murdered, I'm guessing it's his wife or his girlfriend from way back when. And before you see the spell, you don't know anything about this. You actually are learning this towards the end of the book. And there was... he was trying to find out who did it, but the track ran cold. Like, he's a hunter. He was hunting to find out who killed his wife or his girlfriend and whatnot. But unfortunately, the trail went cold, and he had abandoned it for many years. And now this artifact comes into his life, and now it reopens the it opens up the trail again, and he has a name and he has a place now. And the book ends with him going to this place to find the person that did it. I would say it's worth checking out. It really, I mean, at least for me, I haven't bought Magic cards for a very long time, as I said, so I don't know if certain things that were in bold, because there were certain bold names and places. As far as I know, it didn't look like there was sales for cards in here, like they weren't trying to promote cards. It really just looked like it was a solid story, and I'm actually hooked to get the next issue, which I hope comes with a free card. I have to admit, I have 3 guilty pleasures. If a comic glows in the dark, has some type of special gimmick to it, like the Transformers one I did a while back, or comes with free stuff, if I have the extra money and I'm interested enough, I am guilty by saying I will buy it. And I'm glad I actually took a chance with this. So now I have a new Magic card that I'll be adding to the whatever deck I got for, I think it was Dark Ascension, which is the first deck that came out in 2012, which I'm going to be doing for CCC. Little plug there, if anything. This book was pretty good. If you have the extra money, check it out. I really would say, you know, IDW, none of their books have I said anything really, really bad about yet. Knock wood. Sorry, Swamp Thing. Really good. I would say, check it out. I would highly recommend checking out anything from IDW that I check out, because unless I say don't check it out, but this was pretty good. This was pretty good. Also, by the way, I want to take a time out from the comics 2 seconds. The reason this is being shot on Monday, President's Day, is because Michael, who's my cameraman and whom I waited to get better before I actually shot this review. Not that I depend, like I need Michael to stand on my own 2 feet, but you know, he's my brother. He's been in every single comic review since day 1. So, in my opinion, he belongs in every single comic review. He's at 102 fever. It broke, thank God. I'm not going to knock wood again. But he's better now, so I waited for him to get better so he could be in the comic review with me, even though he's just holding the camera right now. So, that's kind of why this is late. I'm just glad Mike's better, and thank God. The lack of videos is just because I've had a lack of time. I've been substituting all week, last week, and already the beginning of this week I'm going to be subbing again, so... I'm trying, guys. I'm working my way up. 2 books came out this week. Actually, let's do the late one first. Dungeons and Dragons Infestation #2, #1. I don't read Dungeons and Dragons, so to be honest, it's hard to explain about the characters or what's going on, because I don't fully have a grasp of the universe of Dungeons and Dragons nor the story. It was nice. The artwork was pretty okay, in my opinion. I honestly couldn't tell you guys about it really. It's one of the lesser of the full tie-in series. Like last time, I was telling you guys it was. Gee, which one was it last time? It transformed. I think it was. No, it wasn't Star Trek. I thought it would be Star Trek, but it wasn't. Which of the 4 was it, Michael? It was one of them.
World of Warcraft?
No, it wasn't World of Warcraft. At all. Anyway,
I think it's behind the comic.
No, that's the checklist.
I don't remember.
It's too bad Ghostbusters aren't going to be involved in this. But here's a good picture of the last page. Artwork's pretty nice. I'm just getting it to get a complete set of the Infestation series. But it was pretty good, but it's definitely the weakest of the two books for this month. If you have the extra money, check it out. If you're not looking to get a complete set of Infestation 2, I'd say Dungeons & Dragons isn't something that you must have. Also, what's supposed to come out this week, Infestation number 2, Transformers number 2 concluded. Optimus Prime was brought back to life, and the fight scene between him and the alien was epic, of course. There were bits and pieces of confusion throughout the book, but for the most part, it was pretty good. Highly recommended. This is back in the Steam times. It was cool to see Optimus Prime does not transform throughout this entire book. He's completely always in robot form, so if you guys are looking to see what Optimus Prime was back in the 1600s, you're not going to see it in this book at least. It was really good. It ended with Optimus Prime taking down the monster, sorta, but he says if it lasted that long underwater, it possibly might come back one day, which might all lead into Infestation number 2. Two number 2s. So it was really, this was the stronger of the two this month. I believe next week is Dungeons & Dragons Infestation 2 number 2, and then the week after that is going to be the one-shot, which I believe is Infestation 2 Team-Ups. Yep, and then we go into the next two, which is G.I. Joe and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm looking forward to the ones from next month. Excited for those. So check it out. A book that just keeps getting better. Ghostbusters number 6. You get the background of the ghost in the beginning of this book, and the team splits up. Funny stuff happens. You find out why the girls are going goo-goo for Egon. Turns out Egon found the pleasure point in the brain and stuff like that, and he didn't want Vakeman to know. Gee, I wonder why. And they finally confront the ghost. However, something happens to one of the Ghostbusters. Not going to spoil it. Really good. Artwork's amazing, as always. It's cartoony. If you've watched the cartoon on TV, to be honest, that's why I think I'm not so upset about the comic book, because I watched the cartoon on TV, so it wasn't really that hard to change over to this, because it feels like the same sort of. And okay, I'll show this page. The ear thing from the first movie, where Venkman would pull on Ray's ear to get him to tell him the truth, it followed through to this comic book. I thought that was a funny reference to the movie. I liked it a lot. So I love this book. I finally got the right cover this time. No thanks to misadvertisements on certain websites. But really good. They finally moved away from the movies, and now it's just taking on an entity of its own, and the entity is beautiful. Check this out. Okay, now we're going into the mainstream Transformers. Transformers More Than Meets the Eye, number 2, Rodimus Prime's side. Turns out we find out why the ship had a malfunction. It wasn't exactly a good experience for one of the Autobots, who won't be coming back anymore, and that's all I'm going to say on that. We delve more into, what's his name? Got it? Let's see what his name is. The person from Nova Prime's time, I forget the name of the robot, Tailgate. We delve a little bit more into Tailgate, who realizes now he's woken up 6 million years in the future. Basically, it's a lot of search and rescue with the Transformers. The guy on the cover says it all. Skids comes back from something that apparently happened back in the 31 issues of Transformers, I'm guessing. Search and rescue for the Autobots. They're being repaired. They're getting ready to leave. These other robots, they remind me so much of the ones from the movie. But they don't go munch, munch, munch. They go like, they actually, all they say is 1984. So, I don't know. But it reminds me of the Transformers from the 1980s movie, the ones that actually like to eat the Transformers. A lot of good scenes. You could see a lot of conflict going on, especially between, oh god, Whirl and Cyclonus. One is an Autobot, I believe, and one is a Decepticon. Or both are Decepticons, I can't even tell. But it don't look good. And in the end, you get left with another cliffhanger. It turns out something's on board the Lost Light, or whatever the arc is called. This arc is called, and it's called a, spoiler here, Spark Eater. And I'm going to show the last page because I thought it was cool, because it kind of references to aliens, in my opinion. that's how they ended the issue. So I'm guessing there's something on board that likes to eat the sparks that are in the Transformers. Really good. I know nobody collects Transformers, so I'm not really worried about spoiling it for anybody. If anything, I'm trying to entice you guys to check certain ones out. I'm not too much of a fan of robots in disguise. More Than Meets the Eyes, though, is going really good. I'm enjoying Ultra Magnus. I'm enjoying Rodimus. Now I understand why he's not Rodimus Prime. Optimus is still alive somewhere out there in the universe. Who didn't see that coming? He's coming back at some point, you know it. Once Megatron makes face, you know Optimus will be right behind him. They're brothers after all. Leaving IDW, going into Dark Horse, Star Wars: Dawn of the Jedi. Number 1, Jedi. I don't know if this was put in recent, but Force Storm is in after the semicolon. It's really good. It starts up where it explains how the Jedis came to be, how they got together, and now it's all about the character who's on here, It's a little bit confusing, honestly. Mind you guys, I haven't had time to read this because I've been helping Mom take care of Mike and stuff, so I've been like in and out of the comic books. This one was one of the ones that I really should have read at least 4 times through because it's a bit hard. The best part was here where they had that little bit of a Jedi fight, and the lightsaber came out for like 1 panel. Really good. If you are a fan of Star Wars, you would definitely want to be checking this out because this was the beginning of the Force. Tatooine, they're on Tatooine at some point, which is here, and you get to see a lot of the Force magic, a lot of stuff like that. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. It's a thick book. It's $3.50. It's a very thick book for $3.50, and there are no advertisements except for 1 or 2 in the middle. The rest are all, the only advertisements really are for actual Free Comic Book Day and Star Wars, other Star Wars books. But for the most part, it's all comic book, very, very little advertising. Maybe every, what, 6-ish pages? But there's a lot of pages in here, so it really doesn't matter. And you get a preview of Conan the Barbarian on the back. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't take a chance on this series. It didn't interest me reading the first couple of pages. But anyway, really good. I would say check this out. It was, in my opinion, worth the $3.50. I think it's only going to be a 6-issue, maybe 7-issue mini. Really good. I'm liking it. And that's it for the Independents. And I'm sure I wasted a lot of time talking about the Independents and everything else going on in this house. So let's get into the big 2. Venom, 13.2. X-23 cover, though X-23 really isn't a humongous focal point. However, my happiness peaked with this book for 2 reasons. Number 1 was the artwork. I guess for every issue, depending on who's on the cover, they're taking an artist from their actual books. And the comic artist in this one is the one from X-23. And you can tell because look at how X-23 looks. I am so happy. Takeda, I think her name is. Awesome artwork. Awesome artwork. And also the stuff that happened in this book got me interested in wanting to see what happens exactly next. Why? I could spoil it for you, and I probably will spoil it for you. Alright, just fast forward through the next minute, starting now. The reason that this story actually got me hooked again was because by the end of this book, everybody dies. Flash Thompson gets his neck snapped. Hulk gets a huge hole blown into him. X-23 gets dropped to her doom in a pit of lava. And Ghost Rider just dies. She just stops, and the flames on her head just stop working. Yeah. You know they're not all dead. You know none of them are going to stay dead, and you know by the next issue something's going to give, and it's probably going to be with Red Hulk first, since Red Hulk is in the next issue. And yeah, so the whole point is seeing everybody die in this issue. I am sure to some people it would be a turnoff, and I don't blame you guys because they're dead, really? That's impossible because they're here, there, and everywhere, so it's impossible for them to have died in this book and it to be permanent, so it's kind of a waste of time to even fake the whole death thing. I did like in this book, though, however, spoiler, that they mentioned that X-23 does have a soul, because if she didn't have a soul, she couldn't be in hell. Also, I like the advertisement in the back saying when X-23 is finally coming back out, because I've been waiting for X-23 for 2 months now. Not 3. It's coming back in March. Thank you, God. Because no wonder why. I was wondering, Mike, why X-23 was going an extra month over Dawkins. That's why. Because she's been gone for a month and Dawkins just kept going. So, I love the artwork. I would highly recommend this for the artwork alone. The story's okay. They're still fighting against their nightmares, so to speak. And Flash, in this book, kills his nightmare. In the last issue, it was Ghost Rider killing hers. And I believe Red Hulk's nightmare also was killed. But in the end, yeah. Blackheart's still coming up on top. And it's okay. It's an okay book. I wouldn't say it's the best, but for the event, it's worth what it is. It's what it is. And that's that. Amazing Spider-Man 679.1. It's a .1, guys. It's supposed to get you guys... It's supposed to catch you guys up to what's going on. Let me take a sip here. It's supposed to catch you guys up to what's been going on in Spidey and start a jump on point. The one thing after reading this book I can definitely say is, first of all, the last story arc just ended with the Terrible Tuesday, or the... What was it?
I think Terrible Tuesday,
let's call it
Crazy
Terrible
Tuesday, I don't know.
Or the end of the world Tuesday. 680 would have been a perfect jumping on point. This .1 book was kind of unneeded, but then again, it's its own standalone story. It's Pete at Horizon Labs. Morbius makes a guest appearance, which is really cool. Max Modell is not happy, when Spider-Man shows up out of nowhere, thinking that Peter Parker actually gave Spidey the codes to get into the place because they're best friends. So security's going to be ramped up. Life's going to get a bit harder for Pete now. But really, I don't feel this as a jumping on point. It just basically gives you a day in the life of Peter Parker, because all you are is at Horizon Labs. The cover's beautiful, though, I must say that. And the artwork on the inside is even better. I'm going to find a picture of Spidey. I guess this page. Artwork's really great. Spidey versus Morbius, even though it's a mistake. I won't say why, you're just going to have to check out the book for yourself. But in the end, all ends pretty well. And there is a guest appearance by one other person, which I don't find this as a spoiler, because I don't think this guy's going to show up until way after To the Ends of the Earth or whatnot. The Lizard. Morbius is with the Lizard. I think he's going to try to cure the Lizard or something. But this is definitely for future story arc. I'm talking end of the year, possibly, story arc, if even then, because Ends of the Earth or End to the World's End or whatnot. I know it's going to be advertised somewhere in here. At World's End, or whatever it is. That's going to take up a huge chunk of Spidey's time, at least until September maybe. So maybe after September we'll be seeing what's up with the Lizard and Morbius. It's up to you guys. Do you need this to jump onto Amazing Spider-Man? Absolutely not. Just go straight to Amazing Spider-Man 680 and you should be completely fine. It's actually starting up an FF story arc. So it's 2 parts, I believe. So you don't need this to jump on. However, if you're like me and you like to read like standalone stories or little stories that introduce you or allow you to jump into a book, I guess this will help. If I didn't read what was going on, I really honestly, it didn't leave too much room for anything, except it caught you up to what happened in Spider Island. So if you missed out on Spider Island, there was a recap of that. But other than that, that was basically about all the recap you're going to get in that book. Okay, the weaker of the 2 Avenger titles, in my opinion, I'll tell you guys why, is Avengers number 22, and they have an advertisement at the top for the Avengers movie. So why is this book the weaker of the 2? Well, basically, Norman Osborn is one-upping the entire Avengers team, and I've noticed this in a lot of the books now. The Avengers, specifically, are not being as warmly welcomed as they were before. A lot of people now are like, oh, the Avengers, or they're not really happy with the Avengers anymore. They're starting to question the Avengers. I'm starting to get that feeling of Dark Reign starting over again without the Dark Reign actually happening. I'm starting to feel like the world's going to start questioning their heroes. Now, I understood they did that with X-Men, but you're getting that feeling that the heroic age is definitely over now. Absolutely over. Because now the people are starting to not like the Avengers. much. And you can see it here. They're starting to question the Avengers. News cruiser in front of the Avengers mansion. And Norman Osborn's there, which I kind of find funny because Norman Osborn's here. But Norman Osborn's here, and Vision comes to confront him and to arrest him. And basically, the Avengers are the ones that are looking bad. And yeah, Vision doesn't exactly get the warmest of welcomes, and he gets tossed through something. I'm trying to find a good page for artwork. I guess I can show that. There's Iron Man. They're basically examining all the Avengers now. They're all captive, and they're all being, you know, interrogated, tortured, what have you. And basically Norman Osborn's winning, and even the president's like, okay, let's reach out to Norman Osborn, let's see what he, if we can make this work. And in the next issue, though, this is where I'm happy, it says the hammer falls. So maybe, just maybe, we can get away from this story arc already and go into Avengers vs. X-Men with a brighter attitude. And then after Avengers vs. X-Men, hopefully Brian Michael Bendis will move off of the Avengers, and seriously, this guy is writing everything for Marvel right now. Give other writers a chance. Seriously. He writes this, he writes that, he writes several other books. I'm glad he left Spider-Man finally, so... And he's writing the Ultimate Comics. It's like, really, the man is stretching himself so thin. No wonder why writers are having trouble finding work. You got one writer doing, like, literally, what? 30% of Marvel Comics now? I'm not saying he's a bad writer. He's got his good moments as well as his bad moments, as well as every other writer, except Dan Slott. He's been on the money. On the money. On the money. Love you, Dan Slott. But, yeah, just give other writers a chance, and it feels like this is recycled. We've seen the Dark Avengers already. I'm tired of hearing of the Dark Avengers and Norman Osborn. Knock Norman Osborn off his high horse, put him back in the Spidey books, let him become Green Goblin again. The end. Problem solved. However, in the new Avengers 21, I was a little bit more satisfied because in this book, it was the new Avengers versus Ragnarok, who was the Dark Avengers Thor. And the whole book is a fight. The whole book's a fight. You have to read the book to really understand the fight, but the whole book is a fight. And even though they beat they beat the Dark Avengers Thor, let's just put it that way. Yeah, here's a good splash page. The artwork's pretty nice also. But even though they beat him in the end, in the very end of the book, I'm not going to spoil it. You got to read this one, because this one was like, wow. It wasn't Norman Osborn that was... Oh, here it is. Ends of the Earth, by the way. It wasn't Norman Osborn that was the new... Okay, Michael, was the new Avengers problem. It is the U.S. government. How? I won't tell you. You have to read the last page to find out. This was the better of the two Avenger books. We'll come back in 2 seconds because Mike's saying to wrap it up for this part. Sorry, guys. A lot of talky in the first part. Promise you all about the comics in the next part. So I'll see you guys in the next part. We're going to finish off Marvel and go into DC. Hooray. That's so appealing. See you guys in the next part.